Hey, welcome to the Citrus County Chronicle. My name is John Murphy, and I am here with County Commission candidate Jeff Kinnard. Jeff, thank you for being here today.
My pleasure. Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely. So we are sitting down with each one of the candidates that you're going to see on your primary election ballot. And so today we will have two county commission races that will be on the ballot for the primary. And Jeff, you're seeking re-election for County Commission District 1. So thank you for coming, and tell us a little bit about you, your candidacy. What should the voters know about you?
Yeah, sure. So I was first elected in 2016, and then in 2019, I was serving as the chairman of the county commission. And probably the most interesting turn at that point was the Highway 491 project. We had gotten, the county was about halfway through that project, and as a bit of a naive commissioner, if you will, I thought that we would just roll right into the second phase of it.
Not so much.
Yeah, that didn't happen. Well, come to find out, we didn't have the money for a second phase of it. And so I was very much introduced to getting up to Tallahassee, asking for money, and going and meeting Representative Angola, who happened to chair one of the finance committees in the House at the time, that this was going to have to go through. So I went up, talked to him about it, talked to Wilton Simpson, Senator Simpson, talked to Representative Masulo, and just laid out the case for sending us some money here. Once we got through that process, I started getting much more involved in these, not just deciding on these larger projects, priority of the projects, but actually I want to see where the pots of money are at. Do we have to go to Tallahassee for this? When should we start doing that? Start lobbying for those types of projects. So my candidacy this time is we have got all of these big projects. We've got more than a handful of really big projects that are ready to come out of the ground, and I want to see that happen. And so I've been out on the campaign trail just making the case for people to support me for this term, this 4-year term, to help get these projects rolling. And the criteria I've been giving voters for why Jeff Kinnard, I think that I believe that education's important. I believe that experience is important, proven leadership, and track record, and then vision. And most importantly, with the growth that we've been having, people want to know, well, what's your vision? We've had this crazy, unbridled growth. Well, it's not unbridled. In 2021, our growth rate was 1.7%. Now, these are numbers that come right from Tallahassee. They were given to the legislature. In 2022, our growth rate was 3.4%. In 2023, it was 5.1%. So we've had a steady growth rate. We're still below the growth rate of Florida. Okay, so we fall about in the middle of the 67 counties for how we're growing. It seems like a lot because there's an awful lot of applications that are coming to staff, that are coming to the PDC, and ultimately to the county commission. But these applications, these developments, what people need to understand and pay attention to the details on are that the build out on these things are 20 years and such. Okay, so it's not that you're going to see these thousands and thousands of homes pop up overnight, but they are things that are in the works. And so the other infrastructure projects that need to happen, I want to make sure that we're getting those things done. It's not just roads, it's not just road resurfacing, but it's the Barge Canal boat ramp. We've been talking about that forever. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get any money out of the legislature.
Not many people did.
That's right. Yeah. Not many people got money for anything. We did get the funding for continuing the restoration projects on our rivers. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, that money is still flowing. But we need to get that project going. The city of Crystal River, thankfully, it looks like they're moving in a good direction with getting the river walk done. Well, when that happens, they're going to be closing that boat ramp. We got to get those people moved to a different ramp, or we're going to have even more of an overcrowding issue at our current boat ramps. The LifeStream facility, that is going to be a comprehensive mental health care facility. Thankfully, we've got a great partner in Hernando County. They kicked in $2 million. The Citrus County kicked in $2 million. The state kicked in $2 million. And LifeStream's going to put in the rest of it. So if it goes over the anticipated budget of $12 million to $15 million, that's on LifeStream. It's not on the Citrus County taxpayers. give you a good example of a big project like that. The Clear Sky Rehab Center, they nearly doubled what their initial budget was, is what I'm told. Now, I haven't been it's a private enterprise, a private entity, so I haven't been privy to what all the numbers. But my understanding is their initial budget was somewhere in the neighborhood of about $15 million. By the time they finished that beautiful facility, they were at almost $30 million. So this live stream facility, I want to see that come out of the ground. I want to see the boat ramp come out of the ground. I want to see us, start moving towards completing some of these larger projects that are in the works. And so if I were to sit here and say, here's my vision, put me in office for another 4 years, here's my vision. It really is quite straightforward. It consists of 3 different things. First and foremost, we need to protect our environment, protect our natural resources. We also need to restore those things that have been neglected for too long, and we're doing that, both of the rivers and over on the lakes. The Point Lonesome Lake, I believe, is the pilot project that Too Far got money from the legislature on. We need to continue growing our economy from entry class jobs to career class jobs. That's coming. There are some really, really big things in the works that are going to profoundly change the opportunities in our county for career class jobs. And lastly, we need to expand our healthcare delivery system. We've got to increase the number of primary care physicians, specialists, and healthcare facilities. The 2 hospitals that we've got in the county, HCA and Tampa General, those are 2 giants in the national healthcare scene. Both of those are going to be competing against each other to bring additional doctors and specialists here. You know who wins? The patient.
The consumer, for sure.
That's right. When there's competition like that, we're going to win. They're going to want to have more specialists, better specialists. We win in that scenario. So we've got to increase our healthcare provider system, not just in personnel, but in facilities as well, and that's going to happen.
Very good. Well, Jeff, you've laid out a lot, right? You have, right? You've set a vision. I think our folks can kind of follow, in the sense that here's what I said was going to happen. Here's what we've done. Here's what I still want to do, right?
Yeah.
I just want to ask you one question, and that is, because you have hit on a lot, and I appreciate that. Our community, lots of conversation. You talked about growth. You talked about the growth rate, right? And it's not the sky is falling rate that we perceive, probably, right? But what is the county's kind of vision for the future in anticipation of that growth, and making sure that we have the infrastructure in place and things like you're talking about with the hospitals or those types of things? What are the things that you think you bring to the table to make sure that the county is well positioned for today, tomorrow, and a decade from now?
I've got to give credit to previous boards, because they built Highway 486 to handle larger volumes of traffic. They started to lay out 491 to be able to handle larger volumes of traffic. That is the corridor where growth is going to get pushed to, in the center part of the county. Most people don't realize that while we just expanded 491 to 4 lanes, we already own the right-of-way for half of that road anyway, about halfway down, to expand it to 6 lanes. The piping, the utilities, the underground utilities, the lift station out there, all of those things are all getting oversized to be able to handle future growth. When these development applications come into county staff to review, that's the time when negotiations can start taking place and say, this is where we need you to help our community. We're going to need an additional fire station here, or we need additional park space here, or we need a traffic light here. Not just the basic turn lanes. You're going to need this to access this, but what can you do to help us solve our infrastructure problem? And those conversations take place every single week, if not every day, out at the county government building.
Very good. Well, thank you for sharing your vision with us. Appreciate it.
You bet. Glad to be here.
So again, I want to remind you a couple things. First and foremost, I cannot implore you enough. This primary, every election is important, right?
Yes.
But this primary, so many of our races will be decided in the primary. Your County Commission District 1 race is one of them.
Yes.
So get out and vote. And so those vote by mail ballots are probably appearing in your mailbox as we speak.
Yeah.
But I also want to remind you of early vote dates. That early vote is going to start on August the 9th, run through August the 17th. And then, of course, we have Election Day, 7 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Tuesday, August the 20th. Jeff Kinnard, County Commission candidate he's the incumbent, also candidate for County Commission District 1. Jeff, thank you so much for being here today.
You bet. Thank you,
Thank
John.
you.
I appreciate it.